All right, so we are going to take a little break from doing our sled pulling stuff here in the garage. We are taking a break from that because I need to get some parts. I'm trying to figure some stuff out. We need to get adjusters in the back for our rear, for our hitch. Also here in the front, I need to figure out a way to get our weight box mounted. As I told you guys before, a lot of the trucks you'll see compete in UCC and do what we're going to do, where we're going to take it from a drag truck to a sled pulling truck, which the conversion so far is going phenomenally. I'm very happy with how everything's turning out. But anyhow, a lot of those trucks, the front bumper here is not attached to the rest of the front clip, so it can be removed and you can put your weight box right on the front end. I'm trying to figure out exactly what I want to do. I mocked some things up the other night, but our problem is our hinge and our pivot point is our bumper. Everything is still attached. So rather than fooling with the front clip, because it works well, I'd rather not disturb it. I'm trying to figure something out for that. So doing that kind of in the background, and we'll have a video on that once I get that all figured out. But in the meantime, we are going to do some front suspension upgrades. So if you guys remember, when we were down in Florida, we had a problem with the truck. When we'd launch it, it would squat a little, it would crinkle the rear tire, and then it would pick the front end and offload the front end. So we fixed it with some ratchet straps down there. Oh, UPS man's here. So give me a minute. We got a package. Don't you just hate it when you're disappointed? So I was scrolling through the eBay for 48RE stuff the one day, and I found a 6-pinion Planet setup for reasonable money. So I figured, hey, we just had to replace some because of our intermediate shaft failure. They're hard to come by, good price, let's do it. Well, as you guys can see here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Planets. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So I messaged the guy. Hopefully we can have this all resolved. I did take it apart. I put it back together just to send the guy a picture, but did take it apart. The other gear set is a 6-pinion Planet setup. So we got a 48RE Sunshell, 1 6-pinion Planet, 1 5-pinion Planet, all in good shape, but hopefully we can get this 5-pinion changed out for a 6. Yeah, it's always good to have spare parts. Plus, I know those are getting hard to come by, so it's not like we can't get rid of it later and get our money back. Anyhow, so it's always a disappointment when you're not happy with what shows up. Anyhow, so a little update on the whole wrong transmission part issue. I messaged a guy on eBay. He got right back with me. I sent him a picture and I told him, hey, this is supposed to be a 6-pinion Planet. He said, hey, no problem, I'll fix this. Just make sure the rest of it's good. So, I already had pulled it apart. It is a 48 Sunshell. The other Planet is a 6-pinion Planet. So he is express shipping us that 5-pinion, the one that was the 5-pinion Planet, he's express shipping us a 6-pinion version, a 48RE version. And he said, go ahead and keep that 5-pinion Planet. So I'll put his name down below. If you see him on eBay selling some transmission parts, don't even second think it. Good dude, he's express shipping us the Planet, and he told us to keep the one we have. So definitely a good seller. I'm sure we'll get it all taken care of. We're going to put coilovers on the front of the truck. I forget exactly where I'm at, but I want to put coilovers on the truck so we don't have like our chain set up and all that, or our ratchet straps, because before it was lifting the front end and it was spinning, and the truck just did not want a 60-foot. Once we ratchet strapped it down, it was good to go. So I'm hoping that we can control the front end without limit straps or something like that. I probably will put a provision in for something like that just in case we can't get it quite dialed in right away. But for now, I just want to put coilovers on it so we can try and control the front axle or the front end movement the way we should. So we're going to get rid of the coil bucket, the shock, the coil, and a lot of this bracketry down here. So I'm hoping we can save some weight as well, because we will be using this 1 5/8 083 wall chromoly tubing. And basically my plan is to just kind of bend a hoop. So we're going to cut all this out. Like I said, hopefully save a little weight off the front end and make it do what it's supposed to, and just have things correct rather than trying to do it kind of in, let's be honest, a half-assed way. We just did that chain setup to get by so we could get the truck to Cecil before the end of last year. So anyway, let's get to it. We'll get the, oh, that's another thing. I do have the front end blocked up on our bump stops, so that way the frame is actually sitting on the axle. We will be at our ride height that we are currently at, you know, frame to axle wise. So when we build it, we can get accurate measurements for our distance. So when we order our coilovers, we can get everything the way it should be and the way it's going to be. So I do have some tabs and all that I ordered for all this other stuff. So anyway, enough jibber jabbering. Let's get this whole mess out, cut off all that, and yeah, let's build some shock mounts. Well, we got a mess suspension stuff out of the truck. Everything is cleaned up and looking good. Yeah, got the coil springs out, which are actually a bit heavier than I remember. Got the spring perch, got the coil bucket all cut out, which the coil bucket actually doesn't weigh that much. So maybe we created a little more work than we should have for ourselves, but oh well. I'm sure we're going to be a little lighter than that whole setup. So anyhow, got everything cleaned up. Like I said, I do have some gouges from the torch in the frame here that I'm going to weld up, and then I'll grind down and all that. Not that that's really probably necessary, but we'll take care of that, smooth everything out, make it look all nicey nice and all that. The axle's cleaned up, ready to go. I did clean up here as well. I think what I'm going to do is put a little bead of weld to the axle housing to the axle, just like we did on the rear, to keep that, you know, so from turning. I don't know that that's really an issue with the front axle, but we're here, it's cleaned up, might as well do it, and that way it's just a little bit more protection. So when I was pulling out the bottom coil bracket where it sits, the coil plate or whatever, when I cut that all out and I was trying to pry it up, I could see this moving back and forth. So it really wasn't a good way to kind of keep all the welds, because that thing kind of, you know, clamps on there like that. As you guys can see, kind of welded all the way around and all that. So what we are going to have to do is actually come up with a bracket or something to support this. I haven't decided exactly what to do. If I want to build, you know, kind of box this in and then attach it to the axle. If I want to take a piece of flat plate, kind of like, well, you know, something along those lines, and do it like that. I haven't decided. I'm going to take the night and kind of figure out what my game plan is for that. Honestly, I was hoping to keep a little more of that, but when I got cutting, you know, like I said, was trying to keep kind of this back stuff a little more, but as you can see, it got to be a little bit of a pain to do. It would have been much easier to just remove the axle, or it would have been made things easier to cut off, I should say. So anyhow, I'm going to think on that. I do have some tabs for the axle. I was always planning on going right to the axle with the coilover, but that may have changed. So I got to figure that all out. You know, do we box it in here Do we just put like a diagonal plate like I just showed you? You know, how to go about doing that and making sure it's secure to keep this from going back and forth. Whatever I do, I'm going to come down and then I'll probably box it in on either side just to give it that rigidity. But that being said, I don't think there's any reason we couldn't also put these tabs out front other than, well, our steering for, you know, our rack and pinion. You know, that could get in the way. So just got to figure out exactly how I want to do this. We could also cut these brackets and face them this way. You know, if we put the, where did I put that plate? You know, if we put a plate in here, something like this, say, you know, we could have one bracket like here and the other one just much shorter, or we could still use them like this and cut them down so they're, you know, butted up right against it. That's all stuff I have to decide. Now I could go ahead and cut out the passenger side, but I'm going to leave it for now. Just that way I have a point of reference for everything, because I kind of want to keep the coil in about the same spot as the factory shock is, or at least within this whole coil area. So if we get a different set of wheels and tires or whatever, I know that they're not going to be too far in because they'll fit a stock truck and all that kind of stuff. So just kind of got to decide what I wanted to do. My original plan was more of just kind of come straight down here and leave some of this, but it is what it is. Got a little ahead of ourselves, but we definitely probably cut a little bit of weight out of the truck. So that's all well and good. It'll look a little fancier. Another thing I'm also debating, maybe we just cut all this off and put front 4-link brackets on there. So comment down below what you think. The 4-link brackets, I don't know about on the front axle if they're as necessary as like on the rear. A lot of trucks just kind of still run the factory setup. So just trying to figure that all out. That it is getting cold. As you can see, it has gotten dark and now it is cold, and with all the cutting with the torch and all, I'd really like to keep the garage door open so I'm not, you know, fumigating myself. So anyhow, we got part of our goal accomplished. I really wanted to try and have them have the coil bracketry or whatever, you know, our mounts all done, or at least started tonight. But after cutting that thing out, which did take a little bit longer than I expected, just because trying to get in there and all that, and the passenger side might be a little easier just because the pumpkin's not there and all that kind of stuff. But I want to figure out what I'm going to do with this front bracket. I really didn't, when I was thinking about it in my head, I didn't really visualize it, how it ended up, like I said. So I was thinking I was going to keep more of that bracket. Didn't end up happening. Oh well, it's more weight off the truck. Whatever we're going to do is definitely going to be lighter. So anyway, just cutting part of the front suspension off my truck. But we did that with the rear. Everything turned out well. I'm sure this will turn out well too. So we just got to put our mind to it. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Please like the video, subscribe down below. Catch you guys in the next one. Get out in your garage, get the wrench on your truck.